Hi, I'm Carl with ExpressionsVinyl.com, and I'm here to talk to you today about our new patterned vinyl series. We're going to have a variety of patterns, but more specifically, what I want you to know about is vinyl laminates. This particular zebra pattern has actually been laminated with a clear layer. You can see a little bit of it hanging out here. And the purpose of the laminate is to protect the printing. All patterned vinyls are going to have a white base layer, and then the printing is on top of that. Well, the printing is susceptible to damage fairly easily, and especially sun damage. The ink will fade out rather quickly, and that's what the laminate is for. It gives you 2 layers of protection. It's going to protect from abrasions and scratches, and it's also going to give it UV protection. And we're actually going to offer the laminates in 2 different series. We're going to have the more economy series and the premium series. The economy series will have a matte finish and the premium is a gloss finish. There's not a huge difference between the two. The economy series is still a great product and will give it a UV stability of about 3 years, and the premium series will give it a UV stability of about 4 years. And that's based on some pretty harsh testing. Real world, depending on where it's at, it's probably going to last much longer than that. We'll also be offering the pattern vinyl in 2 different series. We'll have removable adhesive, and we'll also have a permanent adhesive. Either one can be used indoor or outdoor. The removable adhesive is just going to be more kind and gentle to your walls in your house and things like that. The permanent adhesive is going to be better for applications that you want to make sure it stays good and stuck, like if you're trying to put it on a plastic tumbler or something like that. Now, we do recommend with all our vinyl products that you hand wash only, but we have had a lot of people say that they've had good success with even the top rack of the dishwasher. So with that, I'm going to show you how to apply the laminate. I'm using 12 by 12 pieces here just for the sake of showing you. It doesn't really matter what size material you put together here, but so now I'm going to show you how to actually apply the laminate. I'm using 12 by 12 sheets here, and you can apply laminate to any size sheet, it doesn't matter. I personally would recommend that you apply the laminate per the size of your project. If you're planning on cutting something out that's roughly 4 by 8, cut out a 4" by 8" piece of your vinyl and a 4" by 8" piece of your laminate and laminate those together. The bigger the sheets are you're trying to laminate, the harder it's going to be. So what you want to do is, the laminate has a paper backing just like the vinyl does, a release liner. And what you're going to do is you're going to just peel up one edge. Now, they make great big machines that will do this laminating process that work really slick, but they're for really big projects and they're very expensive. So I want just that little bit peeled up, and then I'm going to line it up as best I can with the edges of my sheet here and try and stick just that little tiny edge down as little as possible. And the reason you want to start with as little as possible is because if you try and just stick the whole sheet down, you're going to get air bubbles and wrinkles and whatever else in it. So I've got that little bit of edge stuck down. I'm going to use my application tool. I'm going to get that rubbed down real good, back and forth, and make sure we get any air bubbles out. And the way I've got that release liner folded under, it holds everything up so that I can put that down. Now I'm just going to flip it around because this is easier for me since I'm right-handed. And what you're going to do is put your fingers on that release liner and then let it go back over your hand, and you can help feed that release liner out as you go. Now I'm just going to take little bits here and I'm going to push in and work that back. And as I kind of go, I'm going to pull back that release liner a little bit and expose more of the laminate to go down. And take it nice and slow. If you go too fast, you'll get wrinkles and air bubbles. And this process, this will probably take a little bit of practice for you. before you get real good at it. You want to do this step before you cut out your vinyl. The reason being is there's no good way to line up and cut it again to make sure you get your laminate cut exactly the same as your vinyl. Like I said, work that nice and slow. Try and keep things straight. You're probably not going to, if you didn't get your laminate lined up perfectly to start with, you're probably not really going to be able to correct it. And this will try and make things curl up a little bit, and that's normal, and that's okay. Just take nice little passes, maybe up to about 1/2 inch. Try and keep everything going nice and evenly. So of course, when you cut your vinyl, the two different series of vinyl are going to be very similar. They're made by Oracal, just like our other vinyls are. And they're going to work similarly to our indoor series, which is Oracal 631, and our outdoor series, which is Oracal 651. The actual vinyl films are similar products, and the adhesives are the same by comparison with the removable and the permanent. So you keep working that down, and as soon as we can, if they're not on the site already, we will get some settings for you on what settings to use on your Cricut or your Silhouette machine to cut this out. Now you want to be careful. You can see I'm getting a crease in my liner there, and that's going to make it harder to work this down if you get a crease in there. You want to try and keep that just rolling back nice and smooth. And it's not necessarily going to hurt anything if you get a crease in that, but it will make it a little bit harder to do. And as you work this back and forth, the application tool will kind of help move things along. And as you can see, this would be much easier to do on a smaller piece if that's all you're going to cut. Now the laminate is really, truly only necessary for outdoor or extreme applications. If you're going to just put some of this pattern vinyl on a wall inside your house or on a decorative board or something like that that will be inside, you don't necessarily need the laminate, because it's not in an environment that it will be susceptible to scratching so much. Got a little air bubble there. That's what you want to try and avoid. Sometimes you can push those out with your application tool. Sometimes you might have to poke it with a pin and work the air out. So now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. But before I get to that, back to the indoor use. Because it's not susceptible to abrasion or so much to UV rays, you probably don't really need the laminate. As you get to the end, it's a little bit trickier. That first section is the easier part. And as you can see, I didn't quite get that lined up real well. There's a little bit of a variation on the edge there. But that part's probably not really very usable by your cutter anyway, so. And that's all there is to the laminate application, and now you're ready to cut.